Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I want to talk to you about a word that carries so much weight. It can feel like it's not just describing your situation, but defining your very worth. That word is unemployed. I know what that word can do. It can whisper doubts in the quiet of the morning. It can make you feel invisible in a world that so often celebrates what we do over who we are. You might be sitting here feeling a profound sense of interruption, as if the story of your life has been paused and you're staring at a blank screen. But what if I told you this is not an interruption? What if this is the vital, necessary, and even sacred space between chapters? You have been handed a gift that is terribly disguised. It is the gift of space, of revaluation. For so long, you may have been running on a path laid out by others, by a company, by expectations, by necessity. And now the path has opened up into a field. It's vast, it's unfamiliar, and yes, it can be terrifying. But in this field, you get to decide your true direction. This period is not about what you have lost. It is about what you have been given back: your time, your curiosity, and your choice. For the first time in a long time, you can ask yourself the most fundamental question: what do I want? Not what does the market want? Not what does your resume suggest, but what does your soul yearn to contribute? I want you to do something. I want you to stop calling it unemployment. Let's call it the search. The search is an active, brave, and noble journey. It is the journey back to yourself. Your first job in the search is not to update your LinkedIn profile. It is to reconnect with your own spirit, what makes you come alive. What problem nags at you to be solved? What talent have you been saving for someday? Let me tell you a truth I have learned from countless lives. The greatest builds, the most magnificent second acts, the businesses that change communities, and the art that changes hearts, they are very often conceived right here in this exact space of uncertainty. Because when the old structure falls away, you are forced to build from the foundation. And that foundation is your authentic self. There will be days when the rejections pile up, when the silence is deafening. On those days, I want you to practice a radical act of faith. Faith not in an economy, but in yourself, in the unique imprint you carry. You have a light that is yours alone. No job title can contain it. No layoff can extinguish it. So use this time, learn that new skill. Have that coffee with a stranger, volunteer somewhere that needs your hands. In the act of giving, you will remember your own power. In the act of learning, you will remember your own capacity. Your worth is not up for negotiation. It is not contingent on a paycheck. You are here, a breathing, dreaming, capable human being, and that alone makes you worthy. Walk through this field, plant new seeds, water them with your hope and your effort. The harvest is coming, and I truly believe that when you look back, you will see this not as a time of lack, but as the time you found the map to a destiny you were brave enough to choose for yourself. Keynote 1 asks us to perform a profound and essential act of linguistic alchemy. It is the deliberate and conscious choice to change the words we use to describe our current reality. When we say, I am unemployed, we are using the language of condition and of lack. We are defining ourselves by an absence. That single word, unemployment, becomes a label we wear, a heavy cloak that shapes how we walk through the world, and more importantly, how we see ourselves in the mirror each morning. It whispers a story of inactivity, of waiting, of something being done to us. This is why the reframe is not merely positive thinking, it is strategic recalibration of our inner narrative. We must swap that passive label for the title of an active hero in our own journey. Let us call it the search. The search is an expedition. It has purpose and direction. It implies looking for something of great value. It requires a map and resilience and curiosity. Or let us term it the bridge. A bridge is not a place to live permanently, but a necessary structure to get you from where you were to you are destined to be. Every step upon it is progress. We We can even think of it as the sculpting phase. Before the masterpiece is revealed, the artist must first assess the raw material, chip away what does not serve the vision, and patiently shape the new form. This shift in language is a shift in power. It moves us from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. When someone asks what you do, you no longer confess to a status. Instead, you declare a mission. I am in a phase of strategic career development, exploring new industries that align with my core skills. I am building the foundation for my next venture. I am researching and preparing for my transition into a field I am passionate about. These are statements of agency. They command respect both from the listener and, crucially, from yourself. They transform the internal dialogue from one of shame to one of forward motion. The story you tell yourself is the story you will live out. So you must choose the words of a builder, not of a bystander. You are not unemployed, you are an explorer on the precipice of discovery. You are not paused, you are in deliberate preparation. This is the first and most vital step, because the right words create the psychological space for the right actions to follow. Keynote 2 is the crucial act of emotional validation. It is the deep and necessary understanding that we cannot lift anyone up, not even ourselves, if we do not first acknowledge the ground upon which they are standing. We must honor the truth of this experience with clear-eyed compassion. The weight of unemployment is real and it is multifaceted. It is the quiet anxiety that arrives with the morning's first lightest sense of uncertainty that colors the whole day. It is the awkward pause in social conversations when the inevitable question of work arises, a moment where you feel your identity momentarily slipping. It is the frustration of rejected applications, which can feel less like a professional assessment and more like a personal dismissal. It is the financial pressure that turns every purchase into a calculation, and the formidable challenge to one's sense of purpose and self-worth. To skip over this, to offer a platitude without first sitting in this truth with someone, is to build a bridge from a fragile place. It risks sounding hollow. Therefore, we must look this reality in the face and say, I see you. This is hard. This is disorienting. Your feelings are not a sign of weakness. They are a testament to your humanity and your desire to contribute to be part of the world's work. This validation is not about dwelling in the pain. It is the opposite. It is about draining its secret power by bringing it into the light. When we acknowledge the fear, we loosen its grip. When we name the insecurity, we begin to separate it from our core self. It is only from this solid foundation of emotional honesty that the redirection can truly begin. You have met the person where they are. You have honored their struggle. Now, and only now, can you gently take their hand and say, let us look forward together. Let us find the perspective that this difficult ground can also be fertile soil. This builds a profound trust. It tells the listener you are not being spoken at from a place of distant optimism. You are being walked with from a place of shared understanding. The subsequent motivation becomes credible and strong because it is built upon the bedrock of rock of real human experience, not perched a tower of empty cheer. Keynote 3 invites us to perform a subtle evolutionary act of revolutionary of reinterpretation. It asks us to see the period not as a barren landscape of loss, but as a rare and fertile field of potential that has been granted to us, albeit in challenging disguise. This is the conscious choice to search for the gift within the difficulty. For years, perhaps your time, your energy, and your mental focus were not fully your own. They were allocated by schedules defined by job descriptions and consumed by the daily rhythm of a role you may or may not have chosen with your whole heart. That structure has been removed. While this brings undoubted challenges, it also returns to you a commodity more precious than any salary, your own sovereign time, and your autonomous attention. This is the gift. It is the space to breathe deeply and to look around without the tunnel vision of a relentless routine. It is the opportunity to ask foundational questions that the business of employment often drowns out. What have I truly enjoyed doing in all my past roles? What tasks made me lose track of time? What values must my next chapter honor? This phase becomes a mandatory retreat for the soul, a strategic pause on the battlefield of career where you are not falling behind, but rather regrouping and roaming with clearer intention. It is the blank page between chapters of a book. The previous chapter has ended its plot lines resolved. The next chapter is yet to be written, and you hold the pen. This blank page can be intimidating, but it is also the only place where true creativity and redirection can occur. Nothing new can be built on a foundation already crowded with the old structure. The clearing away, while painful, makes room for a new blueprint. Therefore, this time is not a void. It is the essential workshop. It is where you get to examine the raw materials of your skills, your passions, and your experiences away from the noise of the marketplace. You can dust them off, polish them, reassemble them into something more authentic and powerful. You are not between things, you are in the sacred and necessary process of becoming. To recognize this is to transform the energy of anxiety into the energy of possibility. It is to understand that this field you stand in is not a punishment, but a planting ground. Keynote 4 centers on the singular and most powerful question you can ask yourself during this transition of expectations. The noise that cuts through, just through it cushions and resumes. That question is, what do I want? This is not the smaller practical question of what job can I get? That is a question of logistics, and it has its place. This is the deeper, more profound inquiry into desire and purpose. For many of us, life and career become a series of reactions. We react to job openings, to market trends, to the well-intentioned advice of others. We follow paths of least resistance or greatest apparent security. The gift of this pause, the clarity that can emerge from the quiet, is the space to move from reaction to creation. What do I want to build? What problem in the world feels personal to me, aching for a solution? What kind of work would make me feel so engaged that a Monday morning feels as full of potential as a Friday afternoon? This question is a homecoming. It is a journey back to the core of who you were before the world told you who you should be. It requires quieting the external voices, the LinkedIn influencers, the career coaches, the nervous family members, and listening instead to the quiet whisper of your own spirit. What activities have always brought you a sense of flow? What topics could you read about or discuss for hours without fatigue? This question also connects to legacy. It is not merely about the next paycheck, but about the next chapter of your contribution. How do you wish to use your one wild and precious life? Do you want to create beauty to build stability for others, to solve complex puzzles, to teach, to heal, to inspire? Uncovering this answer is the true work of the search. It becomes your compass. Every networking conversation, every course you consider, every application you send can then be filtered through this lens. Does this opportunity align with what I have discovered I truly want? This alignment is the secret to resilience. When you are pursuing a path connected to your genuine desire, setbacks feel like detours, not dead ends. The energy you bring to interviews shifts from a plea for acceptance to a presentation of shared purpose. Asking and honestly answering, I want, transforms the journey from a desk ramble into a deliberate and meaningful pilgrimage toward a life that is not just ocularly filled. Keynote 5 offers a Vikinger perspective, a granting, a reassuring pattern of human to by necting a personal moment to preoccupied but truly fulfilled. It reminds us that you are not alone in this space, and that this very soil of uncertainty has been the seedbed for some of the most remarkable transformations. Consider the stories we we seldom hear in their messy middle chapters. The entrepreneur whose groundbreaking idea was born not in a sleek office, but in a period of professional exile and forced contemplation. The artist who found their true voice only after the gallery closed its doors. The professional who, after a layoff, discovered a latent passion for teaching or counseling that would define their most impactful decades. These second acts, these magnificent redirections, did not emerge from a linear path of uninterrupted success. They were forged in the crucible of the unknown. When the familiar structure, the safe job, the expected career trajectory falls away, you are presented with a raw and powerful opportunity. You are forced to build again, and this time you must build from the foundation. You cannot simply replicate what was lost. This is where true strength and authenticity are born. You must ask what remains when the title is gone. You must discover what you are made of beyond the business card. This process, while difficult, constructs a resilience and a self-knowledge that no easy path can provide. History whispers to us that security and profound creativity are often at odds. The comfort of the known can be the enemy of the extraordinary. This period, therefore, is not a deviation from a successful life, but for many a necessary and even destined part of its architecture. It is the plot twist that makes the story compelling and true. You are in the company of countless heroes of your own narrative who stood where you stand. They felt the same fear and asked the same questions. Their legacy is proof that this is not an end. It is the often uncomfortable but essential of a new beginning, one that may align so closely with your core that you will one day look back and call say for six presences, practical action and dynamic source and between seemingly tweets force the essential and balance between two is practice you were meant to live all along. Kane called this moment not a loss but the necessary capital. This period cannot be navigated on intention alone. It requires a daily commitment to forward motion, no matter how small the step may seem. This is the discipline of action. Update one part of your profile. Send one thoughtful outreach email. Dedicate 30 minutes to a new online tutorial. Volunteer for a cause that reminds you of your capacity to contribute. These actions are critical. They are the tangible bricks with which you will build your bridge to what comes next. They prove to yourself that you are not passive, that you are still in the game. Yet action alone, fueled solely by anxiety, will lead to burnout and deeper frustration. This is where the partner to action must be a radical and internal faith, not a blind faith in a guaranteed outcome, but a profound faith in the person taking the steps. You must cultivate a steadfast belief in your own resilience, in the unique combination of talents and experiences you carry, and in the undeniable fact that you have navigated hard things before. This faith is the light you carry through the tunnel of uncertainty. It is the voice that counters rejection with the reminder that your worth is not negotiable. When you act from this place of faith, your energy transforms. Networking becomes a curious exploration rather than a desperate plea. Learning becomes an expansion of your potential, not just a line on a resume. Each small action becomes an affirmation of your own agency. You are building not just a new career path, but a stronger relationship with yourself. Therefore, you must move your hands in practical work while anchoring your heart and the certainty that you have something of value to offer. This duality is your engine. Action proves your faith to the world, and faith makes your action sustainable and powerful. This journey you are on is not a detour from your path. It is the path. You have been given the rare and powerful gift of a blank page. The previous chapter has ended. The next is yours to write with the wisdom of experience and the ink of your own resilient spirit. You are not between things. You are in the sacred process of becoming. Trust this process. Honor your own worth, which no title can define. Move forward with both hands ready to build and aim hard in faith. Faith not in an easy outcome, but in the magnificent person you are, who is more than ready for what comes next. Your new beginning starts starts not with a job offer, but with this choice in this moment to believe. My friends, we've gathered here in this quiet space, and I want to speak to you about something we all know, but so often try to outrun. I want to talk about the territory of sad. It's a heavy little word, isn't it? Just 3 letters, but it can fill a room, a heart, a life. It's the gray light of a Sunday evening when the weekend's promise has slipped away. It's the silence after the goodbye, the space in the bed, the memory that feels more real than the present. It's not the dramatic, wailing grief, but the quiet companion that sits with you, asking for nothing but to be acknowledged. For so long, I believed sadness was a detour, a wrong turn on the roadmap of a positive life. I thought if I just moved fast enough, smiled brightly enough, gave generously enough, I could leave it behind in the dust. But life, in its gentle, persistent way, taught me otherwise. It taught me that sadness isn't a wall, it's a doorway. Because when you stop running, when you finally turn and face it, really sit down with that feeling and say, all right, you're here. Tell me what you need me to know. That's when the real work begins. That sadness is often your deepest wisdom whispering. It's the part of you that knows you've lost something precious. It's the love that had nowhere to go. It's your spirit telling you that something is out of alignment with your truth. We live in a world that's addicted to the highlight reel, constantly telling us to curate our joy. But in doing that, we exile a whole part of our human experience. We make sadness wrong. We call it depression. We call it a bad attitude. We medicate it. We avoid it. But in avoiding it, we avoid the very soil from which our greatest growth can emerge. I have learned that the seasons of sadness are when the soul does its most important housekeeping. It's when we shed skins that no longer fit. It's when we learn compassion, first for ourselves, and then, miraculously, for every other person who has ever felt this H. That H is the thread that connects us all, the ultimate human experience.